Hey everybody, this is Mr. Lowe, and we're going to do a couple of quick example problems from lesson 4-4 just to give you guys an idea of what we're doing. We're multiplying whole numbers times a decimal. Sometimes our decimals will be pretty easy, sometimes they'll be a little bit more complicated, but the process is still exactly the same. So if I have a problem in my book that looks like this, 64.2, and I'm going to times that by 20. I am going to go through the same multiplication steps like I normally do. So I'm going to look at this 1 as if there were no decimal there. I want to multiply 642 times 20. So we're going to go basic, we're going to go old school, we're going to go 0 times, we're going to multiply our 1s. So 0 times 2, 0, 0 times 4, 0, 0 times 6, 0. Now that I am finished with that, the ones place, we're moving over to the tens. That makes me have to annex a 0. So I go in and annex my 0 and I start multiplying. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 6 is 12. I keep everything lined up nice and neat. Once I get my two partial products, I'm going to add them all together. 1, 2, 8, 4, 0. Then I want to go back into my two factors. So 64 and 2/10, that has one decimal place, one number after the decimal. So there's one there. In 20, the decimal is right here, and I have no decimal places, no numbers after the decimal. I add these two together. That means I have to have at least one place in my answer. And watch this. This is kind of the cool thing. So when I do that, I put the decimal right here. That gives me one digit after my decimal. So the correct answer would be 1,284. I can keep it as 1,284.0, or I can just write it as 1,284. Either one of those two are exactly the same. That's comma. Okay, so you want to make sure you write this stuff down. You can pause the video if you need to. We're going to do a couple more examples just to kind of keep things moving. So now we are going to look at another problem. This time let's do 57 times 2.3, or 57 times 2 3/10. Again, if I see it sideways like this, I know I want to put them on top of each other. I want to line up my digits. I'm not worried about lining up my decimal, so I'm going to rewrite it. I'll put the larger one up top, 57 times 2.3, and in my head I ignore that decimal and I think 57 times 23. So 3 times 7 is 21, 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17. I am all done with my ones place. I need to annex a 0. I'm going to go ahead and cross that out. You guys can erase the carryovers if you want to. And I move over to my tens place. So 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. I now have my two partial products, and I want to add them together. 1 plus 0 is 1. 7 plus 4 is 11. And 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And I bring down my 1, and I get 1,311. That would be if we were multiplying 57 times 23. However, I go up here and I say, well, in 57 there are no decimal places, no numbers after the decimal. And in 2 3/10 there is just one decimal, one number after the decimal. That means my answer needs to have a total of one decimal place. The only place for me to put that decimal would be right there, one digit after the decimal. So my real answer is 131 and 1/10. I think we ought to do probably one more, and we'll just kind of see how this one goes. Let's do 2 and 54 hundredths times 12. And again, what we want to be doing here is we want to stack them. We want to put them on top of each other. I want to line up my digits. So I'm going to write 2 and 54 hundredths because in my head this is 254. Remember, I multiply without looking at the decimal, and I'm going to multiply that by 12. So I line up my digits and let's multiply. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. I am done with the ones place. I need to annex a 0, and then I need to keep multiplying. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. I've got my two partial products now, and I want to add those two. So 8 and 0 is 8. 4 and 0 is 4. 5 and 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 and 1 is 3. And I'm not quite done just yet. What I want to look at now, again, is we go up here. Let me change colors here. And I say, well, there's 2 digits after the decimal. 2 in that number. There are no digits after the decimal in my second factor because there are no decimals. That means I have to have a total of 2 digits after the decimal in my answer, which would put my decimal between the 0 and the 4. So my answer should be 30 and 48 hundredths. And again, we could estimate this. We could look at this and say, well, 2.54 is almost 3, and 3 times 12 is 36. So our answer should be close to 36. I think 30 is relatively close. It's not perfect, but it's a pretty good estimate. All right, so you guys are going to work on Practice Buddy 4-4. If you're in my 5+ class, you will be doing the adaptive homework. If you're not, you are going to be doing the Practice Buddies. So keep working, B212, and make sure you show all of your work just like I did. Except you probably want to remember that you need to number your problems. All right, you guys, have a great day.